that stuff.
All right, we're live. Ready? The mics are hot. So I'll cut all that out. I'm gonna live stream it. We'll do the witty banter. Like 10 minutes.
Witty banter.
Yeah.
We're bantering with our wittiness. Remember where the camera's at. We're getting ready to go live, so don't touch the camera.
Check, check, check. Hey, everybody. Hey, nobody tuning in so far. We're here for the recording.
We're here for the witty banter.
Oh, we need the witty banter banner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you come up on stage? It's not on right now. This thing is so slow.
All right.
You can YouTube or Facebook Live. You can watch and leave comments.
Go to Poduty.
Poduty, YouTube or Facebook.
Whenever we're talking, you're going to not be able to talk. Okay.
I have no idea where I hid the witty banter last time.
I like that laptop stand. That's a good idea.
I got two of these. MacBid.
MacBit.
Mac.bid. Also, the new lights you saw coming in today. The sign board wasn't here last time you were here. We have a special guest today, everybody. Just so you'll see in a minute. The digital signage was new. That was a $500 product I got on MacBid for $99.
So you need a sponsor. That's what I'm hearing.
Mac.bid.
Yeah, there we go.
Let's go. We'll go to the main stage here. Da 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 ba ba. Oh, we do have one viewer watching right now. I wonder where they're at. Oh, the Mac.bid, like Spotify, at the end of the year gives you a year in review.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, you listen to 2,000 hours of music and you skipped 100 commercials. I got a year in review from MacBid the year I opened this theater. It was like the retail value of everything you spent was like $6,000 to build the theater, but you only paid like $800. So
that's awesome.
So I built the theater on a shoestring budget.
Well, that's the way to do it. And if you've not been out here, you need to make it because this place it's great. And it really is. I said this last year when I was here. You've done an amazing job on this place.
Well, thank you. I can go through all the items in the $2 chairs from the Catholic school, and
that's always good. I wonder if they've been blessed.
I think my dad got me these stands. Sometimes my dad will surprise me with stuff from MacBid, and to pay him back, I usually deliver groceries from Whole Foods. So they're like,
that's good.
Pick up some pork chops and some grapes, and I'll give you some stands I got on MacBid.
It sounds like a win.
Awesome. Well, this is our witty banter section. Do we have any comments coming in? Anybody who wants to leave a comment, you can do that. Harass us up on stage here. The show goes pretty fast once we start.
It does. It really does. Well, and I think this is a great show. It's, like you said before, running it the way you were was, pretty cool. But having somebody else to chat with anytime as a podcaster, and if you're a podcaster, you know this, trying to talk by yourself on a topic is way less fun. It's way less fun. It just is.
Plus, once you hear me read, you're like, I'm not going to listen to 10 minutes of this.
Yeah.
And my father, again, he's helped me produce some of the shows when I'm solo. He's like, hey, that version you did last week where there was somebody else to talk to, way better. Yeah. So I don't know if that was a compliment. Like, I can't hold the stage by myself.
Well, I think you feed off each other's energy though, right? Because it does. If you're just sitting here reading, some stuff, it gets, even if you have a good personality, which you do, it gets monotonous, right? But having somebody to kind of like go back and forth with it definitely helps a lot.
Oh, could somebody in the audience do me a favor? I have a clicker back by the laptop. It's a Logitech clicker, so I can advance the slides. It's going to be an important part of the show. I forgot it. You can throw it if you don't want to appear on camera. Whoa, lose it in the lights. Perfect throw. Well, I think are you ready? I think our witty banter.
We're out of wit now. Out of wit, fresh out of wit now, guys.
Well, we do have a special guest joining us live on stage. Maria Daniels is here for September 27th. And what's that?
She subscribed to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We have a new subscriber we would like to thank in the audience. Thank you.
Oh, you won't be able to see it, but I can put up a, we got, was that Sparkle tag? Hello. You'll see it pop up on the screen there if you're watching. You see your name? There you go. All right. You ready to start the show?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's see if I can find all my assets. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Poduty in the News for Saturday, September 27th. I've got a special guest joining me today, Maria Daniels, all the way from parts unknown, Ohio. We're going to cover 6 stories about live news podcasting. Let's hear that theme.
Podcast on tour, filling up the stands. Conan and friends with jokes in their hands. Dua Lipa's book club shining bright in New York. Wild kiddos versus nerds like the toy talk torch. Upstairs neighbors bring laughs and cheer. Live podcasting magic is crystal clear. Jeff Revilla's here to guide you through with Maria Daniels bringing chaos to what time is it? What time is it? Oh, it's time for Poduty and the News. Poduty and the News. The only live news podcast about podcasting from the stage.
The only live news podcast about podcasting live from the stage. Maria Daniels, welcome in person.
In person. I'm happy to be back. I am. I'm super thrilled to be here at Poduty.
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 The first guest ever on Poduty in the News last week. And then this week, we had some other events scheduled. They didn't pan out, but Maria was still in town this weekend. And we're able to do this show live. We got a lot of feedback on last week's show where people were glad it wasn't just me anymore reading the news. So, like I said, we're going to have a rotating panel of guests popping in, whoever's available. We'll have different people show up and help me carry me through these 6 news stories. And we got stories from all over the place. Conan O'Brien, the UK has a podcast list of the best podcasts to see live. We got new news from YouTube, Dua Lipa. We have the Toy Book Convention. And I like to say Arkansas, the Arkansas Traveler is going to bring us neighbors upstairs.
Yeah.
So we have 6 stories, and this is Maria's second time to Pittsburgh officially, or
Yeah,
just-
too. Yeah, I think so. I think that's the only times I've been here. Actually, I was trying to think. Yeah, I think it's only to come here. So you are the destination. Poduty. Yeah.
Poduty in Pittsburgh. That's the number one reason to come to Pittsburgh for
Yeah.
podcasters. Any plans or anything exciting while you're in Pittsburgh, or anything that ever caught your attention about the city?
What we do in every city we go into is basically hit all the coffee shops.
Is
We've
it?
already been to 2 today, so that's true story.
It's only 10 a.m., so
It
it's
is only 10 a.m.
off
so,
to a great start.
Yeah.
And the Vault Coffee Shop is, if you find that, if you're in the area where Maria's from, check it out. The Vault Coffee Shop, is that the full name?
It's the Vault Cafe.
The
but
Vault
yeah.
Cafe.
Yeah.
Vault Cafe. They also have some baking going on
We
there.
do have, yeah, they're baking hardcore this morning.
Yeah.
Texting me nonstop about it. So
So let's go to that first story. And one of the reasons we're doing this new show, Coffee with Poduty and the Crew, is just to hang out. You know,
Mhm.
we do things all week long. We're going to work, we're doing jobs, we're consulting, we're busy. And sometimes we try to record shows during the weeknights. It's pretty common. But what do we do on the weekend? We got nothing to do Saturday morning. So, you know, if you're home watching, if you're here in the theater, pull up your coffee or your drink from your local coffee shop. If it's the Vault Cafe, or down the street, we have Harvest Moon coffee and chocolates.
absolutely. And their coffee is amazing. And I am a coffee snob. I am. And so if I find a coffee shop that I'm telling you is amazing, Harvest Moon is great. It's a great shop.
Yeah. Side note: Maria walked through the coffee shop real quick, and some of the chairs were out of order.
Yeah.
And her management skills kicked in, and she was like, she lined the chairs for the coffee shop.
It's hard to get out of that, right? It's just like in your mind automatically. So, yeah.
Well, very good. Thanks to all the viewers watching, either in the theater or at home. Let's go to that first story from the UK Podcasters Hit the Roads from the Radio Times. And we're kicking off tonight with a look across the pond because UK live podcast scene is absolutely booming in 2025. From comedy duos like Two Pints Podcast Live and Wolf and Owl to fan favorite shows like Help, I Sexted My Boss, The Girls' Bathroom, and Off Menu, podcasters are packing theaters and turning live tours into major events. Even the Wittering Whitehalls are hitting the stage, proving that the golden age of podcasting isn't just about downloads, it's about building real connections with audiences in person. The UK is showing us how podcast tours can become marquee cultural events. And the thing I liked about this article was almost like a Billboard 100 of podcasts to go see. It was just crazy to see that there's that many that we're having listicles about going to see live podcasts.
Well, and I think we're going to see that more and more. Even just the last couple of weeks we've been discussing this. Like there's shows I hadn't even heard of until you put them on there. Like, what? And then I have to look them up. I'm like, oh my gosh. But one of the things that's kind of stuck out to me is this, what like we're doing right now, this big push on making it a live event, that it's not just somebody that's turned their basement into a studio speaking, which was nothing wrong with that, don't come at me, but it's also becoming a little bigger, right? It's becoming like a destination where people are coming and watching, and I think that's a really cool thing we're starting to see.
Yeah, that's why we built the space. I think that there's a place for podcasters to perform their shows live of any level. And I joke a lot because I still record in my basement.
Yeah.
But how do I go from my basement to a large theater or Madison Square Garden? There's no middle ground. There's no journey to get there. They're not just going to start plucking people out of their mom's basement and putting them on stage in Madison Square Garden. We've got to work our way up to performing in front of these big audiences. And some of these people who have already established themselves over the years and years of podcasting, they're doing that. They're way ahead of us, and they're filling theaters and arenas and taking their shows on tour. I just love that they had a list, like, here's the top 10 ones you got to go see.
Absolutely. No, and I think they intrigued me. I thought they sounded really interesting.
Let's go to story number 2 from Inside Radio. This one is Conan goes live again. Conan O'Brien is bringing his podcast to the stage with a live taping at the Fonda Theater in Los Angeles on October 5th. Fans and Sirius XM subscribers will get to see Conan, Sona Movsisane, and Matt Gurley sit down with a surprise guest, plus a reunion with Conan's old late-night band led by Jimmy Vivino. The live show will first drop exclusively for Sirius podcast subscribers on October 15th, then hit Conan O'Brien Radio on the 22nd, before finally rolling out on all podcast feeds and YouTube. It's a tiered podcasting event at its finest. Live laughs now, staggered releases later. A-Line always tries to punch it up at the end there. But here's Conan, a huge traditional media person. I mean, he's got to be one of the top 10 great late night hosts, talk show hosts of all time. And where is he pivoted to? He does a YouTube show. He's doing a podcast. He's self-producing these giant events by himself. And I think one of the things that hit the news recently was Stephen Colbert was getting canceled on CBS. And to do his show takes 200 people to produce the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And you look at what Conan's doing, he probably has a team of 5, 6 people, maybe some writers, maybe 10 people, putting these things together and producing a quality show on par with CBS and ABC for what, 1/100th of the, or 1/50th of the price.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head, because I think what Conan's basically doing is resurrecting late night, but in a more tangible way, a more realistic way, where you and I, it's something that's reachable, right? Because, it's something that to be able to grow something to the point of, hiring 5 people or 10 people, it seems a lot more tangible than 200 people, right? So I think that kind of it gives us a runway to say, okay, well, this is something that, like you said, go from the basement to kind of that mid ground, is tangible. It's a tangible, realistic, uphill from for podcasting.
Yeah, if you look at what celebrities and famous people, actors are doing, they're building what we're building, but in reverse. They've already established the fame. They have the audience that's following them. Now they're taking that to places to have these real life connections with them. So they've already got it and they're working backwards. We're building up to that. So hopefully we meet at some point in the middle, and you see shows like this popping up everywhere where people can produce, like a Tom Green show 20 years ago. Tom Green was probably him and two people in his basement producing a cable television
Which Tom
show.
Green was hilarious.
Yeah.
I do want to note that. But no, I mean, I think it's right. And you're actually seeing that. I mean, I know you're in the marketing world too. So you're seeing that with everything. Yeah. You're seeing big brands that are kind of bringing a lot of their commercials and all that stuff down to like a realistic, recorded commercial. Have you seen the Apple commercial? Have you seen the Apple commercial with the Apple computer where it's like two guys in a dorm room? Have you seen that one?
I have not.
Okay, well, it's a pretty cool commercial, and there's two reasons it's cool. Number one, it's funny, and number two, it looks very low key, like we could record it. And I think you're seeing a lot of big brands do that with marketing. And I think in the podcasting world, you're seeing the same thing with shows. Like you said, these big people are scaling it back to this mid ground. And that is somewhere that as we can kind of aspire to kind of get to that, like, again, maybe we'll meet in the middle. I think that's a cool thing.
Yeah. When you self-produce and at the level that Conan's doing, there's no middle people. There's no agents. There's no managers, producers, executives. You've cut out all that bloat that makes something expensive, and you're bringing a product directly to the public. Like, who's keeping all that money? Conan is, and he can reinvest it into his team and building and getting to events of this scale and magnitude.
And it's more authentic too. And I think that's what, consumers are asking for, and listeners are asking for, is that authenticity.
Yeah. Let's go to story number 3. And this isn't necessarily a live podcast, but I didn't do the show on YouTube last week, but YouTube has made some announcements. And so this week we are live on YouTube, and we will continue to be live on YouTube because it looks like YouTube's going to push live a little bit more. And this comes directly from the YouTube blog. And YouTube just announced some of its biggest updates yet for live streaming, giving creators more tools to connect and grow. New features include the ability to stream in both horizontal and vertical formats at the same time, AI that automatically turns the best live moments into shorts, and even interactive mini games to keep audiences engaged. Creators will also get access to Ask Studio, an AI chatbot that summarizes live chats and delivers insights for future streams. With deeper community connection, new monetization options, and built-in discovery, YouTube is making live streaming more powerful and more profitable than ever. And we're both in the marketing, and we know that when YouTube says they're doing something, that's probably the thing you should do at this moment, right?
Absolutely. Well, and as we know, well, I don't know if everybody knows, but as we know, Google owns YouTube now. And so that has obviously put a different focus, on that brand, I think, as a whole, and how it integrates across the web. But then, when you're looking at YouTube specifically, I really like the part, like the Ask Studio, because if you've ever been on a chat on YouTube, you get constant spammed like frog emojis, just random stuff, right? And so I like the Ask Studio because basically that can be kind of like a therapist for you now to say, hey, whenever your viewers were spamming you with frog emojis, this is what they really meant by that. It gives you a little bit more, insight of what's going on.
Yeah, I heard a stat on it's Joe Polizzi and Robert Rose's podcast, This Old Marketing, and YouTube. 50% of YouTube viewership is now on big screens. It's not just mobile. People are streaming at home on their televisions. And I think just based on those numbers, that makes YouTube the largest streaming service in the world by far, over Netflix and Hulu and Disney. And what that means is YouTube is a place for creators, and creators have access to this portal that's the largest streaming service on the planet. This is the time to strike. If you're thinking about doing a live show, if YouTube's saying, hey, we're going to push more live shows. Why? Well, one, if people are engaged, guess what they interrupt your show with?
Absolutely.
Ads. They're going to play ads while you're doing live streaming. They're going to cut in. They'll interrupt. There's another ad. They make a little bit more money. You watch a little bit more. They make a little bit more money. So pushing live streams with ads back is a good format for YouTube to build on.
Absolutely. Well, and I think, whenever you're talking about, YouTube themselves are asking you to use their platform like this, that gives you a good insight on what you should be at least trying to do, because they've obviously put time, energy, and money into kind of putting this focus on things. And so anybody that's using these things that they're trying to push out there, they're going to get an uptick in, viewability, automatically just because of that. And so I really like this because, basically YouTube is telling Twitch to hold my beer, because Twitch has been where everybody has been streaming to, as in the podcasting world.
Yeah, now that Facebook deletes your posts
I know.
30 days after, or 7 or 30
Well,
days after.
I think it is 7 days now.
Yeah. So forget it, Facebook.
Yeah.
You don't want us live streaming there anyway, so sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So we're moving to YouTube.
Yeah. We're going to YouTube. One other thing was I haven't seen the tools yet. The one thing that does worry me is some of these. AI is baked into everything. In some cases, AI tends to make more work for you. Other times, it just gives you like Captain Obvious answers. So hopefully, there's a little bit in here that their AI gives us that you're not going to get, just from experience.
Yeah, well, and as we've seen with a lot of things that launch out in AI at the beginning, it does leave a little to be desired. But the more we use it and the more feedback and information that YouTube gets and YouTube's AI platform gets, I do think it'll get better and better. We've seen that with other things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if the last 5 years that they spent destroying the definition of the word podcast is any indication of how much they want podcasters to do video, this story and these updates are part of that journey, because they've really decimated what it means to produce a podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just an MP3 file distributed through an RSS feed to your app, your aggregator app. YouTube wants podcasts to be video, and they're telling you now, hey, we're gonna kind of give this a little bit of a bump if you do live shows.
Yeah, you get a reward. Yeah. You get rewarded for getting on video, smiling, talking to people, showing up at Poduty, doing your show live. I feel like that would help people if they just came here and did the show.
Just do it.
Yeah, just come here.
Very simple business model. We'll
It
save
is.
that for another show.
It is.
One of my favorite things is learning about celebrities who read. And Dua Lipa checks out of the library. This comes to us from the Spotify newsroom. Pop star Dua Lipa swapped the stage lights for reading lamps as her Service 95 Book Club podcast went live at the New York Public Library. Teaming up with Spotify, Dua sat down with Booker Prize long-listed author David Saleh.
I'm glad you get to say all these last names that I don't.
For everybody who's ever been mentioned on the show, I do apologize. Last name pronunciations are not my thing. So David Saleh to talk about his novel Flesh, blending pop culture with literary prestige in front of 300 fans, press, and book lovers. The conversation was smart, funny, and deeply engaging, followed by fan-submitted questions that showed her how her book club has become a global community. The full episode drops in October, proving that Duo can headline a stadium or a library with the same star power.
I had never heard of Dua Lipa before this.
Ever?
No. Because I was like, who the freak is that? I had to Google it. Apparently, I don't know. I've been in my basement too long, I guess. I'm not sure why. But so I had less than zero knowledge going into this. I didn't even know who this person was. But I think this is a cool combination. Kind of that book club meets, live podcast.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool combo. Because I'm a book lover. I love reading and love books. And there's a lot of book lovers out there. And if you kind of combine those worlds, I think that is a cool concept.
Yeah, she just announced the show a few months ago. I think we picked it up on an earlier episode of Poduty in the News. And again, if here's a star who has a following, she has another passion. Some of her fans who love her music probably also read. It's a fair assumption.
I would say at least some of them.
So now, if you're a fan of Dua Lipa, if you're a fan of what she produces, the books that she likes may also be in line with your taste. Here's a podcast sharing some other things outside of music that you can share with a celebrity or a pop star. And now she can take that to the New York Public Library, do a show for 300 people, interview the authors, and share all that with her community.
Yeah. Well, and to me, again, I had to study who she was as a whole because I had never heard of her. But it almost seems like she's just going into her quiet girl era. she's like, you know what? I have done all the things. And, now I'm just feeling like, let's read. Let's talk about the things we're read. Let's do this on a different level. And I love that she's able to kind of take that, fandom and turn that into a little bit of a luxury time, right? Let's sit down and let's read. Let's talk about this. I mean, I just love that.
Yeah, I'm doing 100 stadiums a year. I need a break.
Exactly. That's what it speaks to me. Like, I mean, I was just like, you know what? Go you, because I love that. She's going into her best life ever, her luxury queen era, and she is, decided to do this whole book thing, and I love it.
All right, let's go to story number 5. Wait, story number 4. This one, no, wait. Let's go. That's how do we count? We're on page 3. two stories per page. Page 3. Story number 5. This is one that we've talked about before on the show. This is Kidults versus Nerds Go Live. This comes to us from the Toy Business Forum on toybook.com. At next year's Toy Business Forum in Nuremberg, live podcasting takes center stage as Carol Rapp of Spiel Essen hosts Kidults versus Nerds. The session promises to dive into how adult collectors and playful enthusiasts are reshaping the global toy industry, all in front of a live audience. As part of a week packed with AI talks, retail insights, and trend forecasts, this live recording adds an interactive spark, proving that even in the business of toys, podcasting has become a powerful way to connect communities and capture the moment. And we touched on a different story similar to this last week, where if you have an interest, there's probably a convention or a gathering of people of your similar interests. So this is a toy podcast. What are these toy conventions doing? They're hiring podcasters to be part of the entertainment on the main stage. And this one, Kidults versus Nerds, I like to see
that. I'd never heard the term Kidults. I think that's hilarious. But to me, when I read this, the first thing that came to my mind is a bunch of 40-year-olds fighting over the limited edition Funko Pops. I had never heard of Funko Pops before podcasting.
Before Dua Lipa.
Well, yeah, before that. Now, but no, there's several of the podcasters that we know that behind them is just like an entire wall of Funko Pops, and I had never heard of them before. But so I mean, maybe they need to kind of look that show up. They may be like,
we're looking at you, Tim and Jeff.
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly the ones that I was speaking of, because I had never heard of them before. And, I think that, like you said, that really shows that no matter what your hobby, your interest, whatever, like you would be surprised. Like maybe you think you're like the only person that loves whatever it is. You're probably not. And there probably is some type, like you said, convention, meetup, something going on that's related to that.
Yeah. And you see this instead of, every convention needs to entertain their guests. They always have after parties. There's usually a vendor that sponsors a party. There's always something happening. But during the convention now, sometimes there's warm-up bands that before the main stage takes the stage. They'll hire magicians or music acts, cover bands. What you're seeing now is part of that main session is a podcast being recorded. So these conventions are looking for podcasting entertainment. They're looking for new voices. They're looking for voices who will amplify what they're producing. So if you go there and record a show and then release it to your fans, that could be another 1,000, 2,000 people that conference reaches for zero advertising dollars. So look into your industry. What are people producing that's similar to what you're doing, and where can you fit in that?
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. And I think also, really we talked about this last week with a lot of the conventions and stuff. People are expecting more. Like there's a lot of competition in that convention, space. And now people are expecting more. So they keep trying to like one up each other. Right. So it's like, well, we've got a magician this year, everybody's like running to that one. So I think it's a really cool concept because, if you've gone to conventions, you know how terrible they can be sometimes. And, nobody wants to do the trust fall anymore. We're done with that. No more trust falls. Let's bring on the live podcasting.
Very good. Our last live podcasting story. The upstairs neighbors bring the laughs and the community. Source is the Arkansas Traveler. At the University of Arkansas, a comedy duo behind the Upstairs Neighbors podcast, Maya Umatoto Gorman and Dom Roberts, lit up the Verizon Ballroom with their signature mix of humor and heart. This live show wasn't recorded for the podcast feed. It was all about the in-person experience and crowd work. The Disneyland debates, and even local food recommendations like famous Steven Special. like the famous Steven special. I went to look that one up.
I don't even know. Yeah.
But beyond the laughs, Maya and Dom focused on connection, asking students to introduce themselves to their neighbors and reminding everyone that sometimes all it takes is one thing in common to spark community. And a little different from what we talk about is recording these podcasts for, release at a later date. This was just a fan experience. This was, hey, we're going to be here on the stage. Let's just talk and hang out. We don't have to make it a thing. Let's make it special that you're here tonight.
Yeah. Well, and it's really that pure, you kind of had to be here energy. And I think that there's a lot of benefit to that felt, that fear of FOMO, right?
Your
The
FOMO.
It's people are going to be afraid of missing out on it. So there is some marketing genius to that. So, I'm sure they'll end up releasing some things, but, to have some of them that are just like for the audience only, really starts to build that momentum. I love that.
Yeah, a lot of fun. A great way to connect with the community without any expectation.
Yeah.
Just, hey, let's show up, let's talk and hang
Yeah.
out, and let's see if we can make the world a better place. Go out,
Absolutely.
introduce yourself to your neighbors. I've lived on my street for almost 10 years now. I know 2 neighbors' names.
So I feel like that's a challenge. Like
Yeah.
you need to go around and introduce yourself. Hi, Jeff. They're gonna be like, "Are you new here?" Like, no, I've lived here for 10 years.
So I'm going to take the upstairs neighbors' advice, and I'm gonna introduce myself to some people.
I still want to know what the Steven special is now because I didn't look that up. Now I want to know.
It's in Arkansas.
All right. Well, somebody can look it up and let us know.
Let's see what else we got here tonight. We got next Saturday after we record Poduty in the News in the Morning, we have the Pittsburgh Podcast Meetup, which we're live streaming now, October 4th, 2025, 6 p.m. If you're in the city of Pittsburgh, stop in at 6. I feed everybody pizza, drinks, all kinds of carbohydrates. And then about 7 o'clock, we will go live and we'll broadcast the live Q&A portion of the Pittsburgh Podcast Meetup. We've got Poduty shirts, just $10. I just got them in last week. If you need a shirt, or if you're here in the audience tonight, everybody gets a free shirt to take home with them. That's a special when you come to Poduty and the crew. Early bird shirts, $10. Where do you get a $10 t-shirt?
At Poduty.
Yeah, we got some upcoming shows I want to tell you about. Anime on the Allegheny, October 3rd, next Friday. Brand new show. It's the first time they're going to run it live in front of an audience. They're talking anime, all kinds of anime. The only thing I can ever say is Akira
Anime.
or Vampire Hunter D. It's the only 2
All right.
animation shows I
Yeah,
know.
that's more everybody else is like, I don't know any of them.
Our favorite, a 3-timer, a 3-peat. The Crips and Corks are coming back October 11th for Haunted Pittsburgh. Terror, laughs, and booze. It's an adult show. There was a BYOB ticket. It's a great great podcast. They're going to tell you ghost stories from Pittsburgh, and they pair those stories with a bottle of wine. So they'll have a special wine prepared for the episode, and you'll be able to drink, laugh, and Yins won't want to miss the show.
I know. I thought at first I was like, oh, play on words there.
And when I first met them, I couldn't remember their name. I met them at a Pittsburgh Podcast Meetup, and I called them Boozy Ghosts. And I think Boozy Ghosts might be sticking because now I saw,
Ghosts.
I love it.
it.
We got the Bird Cave right across the river from New Ken. They're originally New Ken. They do a sports show here in Pittsburgh, and they have so we talk about combining your podcast with events.
Yep.
There is a high school reunion next Saturday for Valley. They're from Valley. They're coming to town, and in the morning they're going to do a live show as a kind of a pregame
I love it.
to the home or the
Yeah.
reunion.
Well, and that becomes memories too,
Yeah.
right? Because then you're able to record that. You're able to touch base with a bunch of people, and you know how it goes at reunions. That can get quite funny.
Yeah. So apologies to anybody at the real reunion if a bunch of people show up who pre-gamed a little bit too much.
But it could happen.
There is a BYOB ticket available for that one. Nailed It Motherhood Podcast coming up November 8th with Tamara. Met her at a podcast meetup, and we booked the show. Looking forward to this one.
Awesome.
This is I believe it's a season 1 wrap up or a season 2 kickoff. So we're just getting things going. And a first time on the main stage is going to be a great show. We have the Humorous. This is a 2026, just a little foreshadowing. I think they're in like Vermont or New Hampshire. They're coming down in March or April, May. Check Poduty.com.
March, April, or May. Well, yeah.
March, April, or May. And of course, my special guest today, all the way from parts unknown, Ohio, Maria Daniels. Thank you so much. Maria, tell everybody if they want to connect with you, they want to visit your coffee shop or marketing services. How do they do that?
That is a lot of things that I throw in at that.
You do all the things.
Yeah, he throws that in there, and then I panic on what to say. Now, if you're near the coffee shop, we're in the middle of nowhere, Russellville, Ohio. Feel free to stop out there. You can connect with me online at successfullychaotic.com.
Dates and deets at Poduty.com, PODUTY.com. We have this show every Saturday morning now. Different guests from around the world are going to be joining me on stage. We won't always have Maria Daniels in the studio, but
No,
when we
I
do,
love you. I'm not driving to Pittsburgh every weekend, though. but-
every Saturday, you got
no.
news.poduty.com is where you can find the Poduty in the News podcast. Otherwise, PODUTY.com. All the information you need there. Let's go back to that theme song.
Podcast on tour, filling up the stands. Conan and friends with jokes in their hands. Dua Lipa's book